Art is open to interpretation, but here's something that's totally clear. You can save on your bus trip to the First Street Transit Gallery to see works from CSULB students. Get your Go Beach Pass from Long Beach Transit for as little as $40 a month for unlimited bus rides, then go check out pieces from your fellow students on display in downtown Long Beach. Great value and great art, it's as easy to understand as that. For more information on the Go Beach Pass from Long Beach Transit, visit ridelbt.com/students.
Hi, hello, everyone, and welcome back to Beach Weekly, a podcast created and produced by Long Beach State's student-run newspaper, The Daily 49er. My name is Cindy Aguilera, and I'll be your host today. Joining me is the wonderful Aziza Gomez. How's it going, girl?
I'm doing good. I've been having a good day. There's good vibes, good music.
Nice. Yes, there's a
I
lot
have
of good
been,
music. Are you into the
yes.
Taylor Swift album right now or song? What is it?
No, okay, look. It's controversial because I respect her so much as a singer-songwriter, but I haven't listened to an album of hers since like 5th grade, which was I think the album where she wrote Love Story.
Yeah.
And You Belong With Me. I think she's great though. I just sometimes I don't know. She's
Yeah.
scary. She scares me.
Yeah.
But
Apparently, no, yeah, not to interrupt you, but apparently her lyrics in this song, I think it's a song or an album or something. But people are like going crazy over it because it's very deep lyrics. It's like very heartbreak lyrics. But
yeah,
I wouldn't expect anything less from Taylor Swift.
yeah, she's an emotive queen, but
Yeah.
also for people on the other side of the pop spectrum,
Mhm.
Silk Sonic also dropped this week. Silk Sonic is a group composed of Bruno Mars and Anderson Paak, my two
Ooh.
faves.
I didn't know they had a little group. That's cute. I love them.
Yeah. You know the song what's it called? Why am I blinking? I'm such a big fan. But Door Open. Is it called Leave the Door Open?
I
I'm gonna
think so.
leave the
I'm
door
gonna
open.
I'm gonna go check that out because I've seen them in a lot of stuff together. I didn't realize that they were actually a musical duo. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, they're saving everything. I love them.
Awesome. So it's a good weekend for music.
Mm-hmm.
All right, girl. Let's get started on this news, shall we? I'll go ahead and start us off if that's okay.
Yeah, of course.
All right. Daily 49er reporter Lauren Ramirez writes that the CSU Board of Trustees released data in a meeting this past Wednesday about in fall enrollment and vaccination. CSU Chancellor Joseph Castro reported that nearly 70% of students are currently enrolled in fully or partially in-person courses throughout the 23 campus system. He says the vibrancy is returning to campus life. And he also added that almost 427,000 students and more than 50,000 employees system-wide have certified that they are vaccinated, with only 4% of students and 3% of employees requesting religious or medical exemptions. That's pretty good. 95%, 95 to 96% of people are vaccinated in our CSU district. I think that's awesome.
That is awesome.
Yeah, it makes me feel safer, right? To be in school and take part in activities and be amongst others. I feel like they're securing our safety, right?
Yes, I have a love-hate relationship with our school about that. It's
Yeah.
great. I like it's awesome that we're all getting like encouraged to vaccinate like each other, whatever. Not each other, but ourselves.
Mhm.
But at the conservatory, we have to get tested now twice a week to
Hmm.
like, go to lessons or do concerts.
Why is that? Do you think because you guys are indoors working closely together?
Yeah, there's a lot of like opinions about that. There's been a lot of like facts that or quote unquote facts
Mhm.
that a lot of us are kind of frustrated at. Like for example, like saxophone players and wind instruments, like we have to have bell covers on, but it's like proven that there's not enough like spit that comes out of the horn,
Mhm.
and it's like formed in a way that you it doesn't really circulate out of the horn, so
Mhm.
it just like affects our sound and it doesn't really do anything. But I think recently there's been like a bunch of new discoveries But basically we have to get tested twice a week because we each get like private lessons, which is just like us and our private instructor in a room. So for that, it makes sense why you have to get tested. And then for concerts, I think 72 hours before a concert you have to get tested.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, do they think that the testing is gonna like obviously ensure safety, right? But like, I don't know, because like, how often do you have to get tested again?
Twice a week.
Twice a week. Have there been any reported cases of anything, any infections?
The last time that happened was that I knew of was for our symphonic band concert, which a lot of other stuff went down, but I'm not trying to get in trouble, so I'm not gonna say nothing about that.
Well, look, the data is showing that a lot of people are vaccinated, so it looks like the danger, and you probably won't even need to get tested anymore. It looks like it's going down.
I hope not.
Right?
It's getting tiring to do all this.
Yeah, sometimes. I know. I see that line over there by the student store, and it's so long sometimes. Like, you have to really take time out of your day to stand there and get tested.
For real.
Yes. Okay. Now I'm going to go ahead and do the Long Beach sports recap this week, written by Malik Reeves. He writes that in women's volleyball team, they played 2 conference games this week, one on the road against Cal State Fullerton, where they won the series 3-0, and a home game against the University of Hawaii, where they lost the series 1-3. The team will be back in action tonight against Cal State Northridge at home. In men's water polo, the team's first game in a week due to cancellation hosted Pepperdine University in a match between 2 of the best teams in the country. Pepperdine is ranked number 10 and Long Beach is number 5. Woohoo! In the nation. Long Beach came out victorious, winning the match 12-11. They will close out their regular season with 2 games this week against Loyola Marymount University and UC Irvine. And lastly, but not leastly, in men's basketball, the Walter Pyramid had filled seats for a basketball game for the first time in almost 2 years. They opened up their 21-22 season with an exhibition match against Biola University. The LBSU's men's basketball team won the game 82-65 in a wire-to-wire victory. That is what's up in sports. That's cool.
Amazing.
Shout outs to our athletes, always kicking butt, taking names. And lastly, in my little piece of news, I want to shout out our multimedia team at Daily 49er for always just doing like the most amazing little projects. They did this really informative mini docu-series. It's titled Beach Defined, and I'm assuming it's like the first in a whole series because it's like season 1, episode 1. But this particular mini docu-series by our Daily 49er staff, Rain Wu, talks about why Coca-Cola is nowhere to be seen. I didn't know this, but before it was basically a Coke campus, a Coke like only, no Pepsi in sight since 2006. And then recently they switched over to Pepsi from Coke. But apparently the Pepsi contract offers a lot more variety, and Coca-Cola was a little bit restrictive. It just wasn't working out. But I want to shout out like the graphics of the video and like the research behind it to get the data. Shout out to our reporters for just going above and beyond to deliver a very insightful, informative report, because it's not easy to get this data, man. And especially from like a bunch of departments, sometimes people don't want to talk to you. But yes, Aziza, are you a Pepsi or Coke person?
Oof, I'm gonna have to say Coke, but if this was like back in the 80s when they're having like their whole debate, I do believe I would have gone with Pepsi because I think Michael Jackson endorsed them.
Right.
So I'm gonna go ahead and say sold. But yeah, that Rain and the team did an amazing job with that video. I literally rewatched it because I was like, yes, Rain.
Me too. So proud, honestly, like to be part of this team. I mean, I am so amazed by the talent.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. All right, Aziza, what you got in news this week?
All right. For my first news story, reporter Hannah Shields shares that the Earl Burns Miller Japanese Garden is now open to the public with the new reservation system set in place. Mary Sromick, who was recently hired in May, is the director of the Earl Burns Japanese Garden, where she and her team spent the summer working to develop an electronic admission system that would allow the garden to fully reopen. Sromick said her biggest restriction to reopening was developing software that allowed guests to make reservations to visit the garden. She said she decided to model the electronic system implemented by the Student Recreation and Wellness Center for the garden's own reservation process. The garden is free to the public and only requires a booked reservation prior to visiting, which is good for a group of up to 6 people. Guests can even reserve a spot to feed the koi. The Japanese garden also hosts a monthly sustainability speaker series where different experts lead discussions on different topics of sustainability. Aguilera's education director, Anika Ballant, will visit the garden on Tuesday, November 16 to discuss ways to reduce plastic pollution in the ocean. Students are welcome to visit during the Review and Revive Student Study Hour, where they will be given a tatami mat, a tray, and a back support as they sit and study in the garden. The Wi-Fi in the garden has poor connection, but Sromick said that she and her team are working on providing a stronger connection for the next academic year. More information about the Japanese garden and all of its offered programs can be found on the website's garden. I need to go. The first time I went was like freshman year, and my best friend had just broken up with her boyfriend, so we had like a whole like cleansing moment. And we like
Oh,
looked at the koi fish. It was iconic. I haven't been since, and I really want to go.
that sounds beautiful. The park sounds amazing. I can't believe that we have a whole beautiful garden just available to our disposal.
Mhm.
That's amazing.
It's beautiful. It's very peaceful. I would love to do the like a yoga or meditation session there.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes, just going to a quiet place with a lot of serene energy and, taking a few minutes to just close your eyes and take a few deep breaths really can like alter your whole day, for the better.
Yeah, I think it's genius that they're doing like the sustainability speakers there, because
Mhm.
where else is it better to do a whole speech about that than at a beautiful like natural landmark?
Yeah, of course. And we have like the flexibility, mindfulness, and gratitude sessions. That's awesome. Everybody can use a little bit of gratitude in their life.
Yes, especially before finals.
Oh,
Just
yeah.
get ready,
Get
prepare
ready.
yourself.
It's close. It's coming up.
Mm. All right. My second piece of news is an opinion piece by Eunice Barron, in which she says that Netflix's Luis Miguel, the series, seals the deal in its final season, which included many real life events and the importance of Latinx storytelling. Netflix recently premiered one of its most anticipated Spanish language series in 2018 and sealed this final season with many interesting events that most of Luis Miguel's followers probably didn't know about until now. In this season, one of the most talked about highlights is Miguel's romantic relationship with Mariah Carey, whom he dated from 1999 through 2001 and was not addressed much until now. The most controversial moment that stood out was the legal and financial problems the singer faced in the past couple of years. The show did a great job of highlighting all of these features that were critical real life moments in Miguel's life, which showed the unglamorous side of fame. Many fans can appreciate seeing more of his personal life since it has been well known in the Spanish language media that El Sol de Mexico, Mexico's Sun, keeps his intimate life private and avoids personal talks. Diego Boneta did a great job portraying Miguel by truly capturing his personality and showing the more human side of his real life character. Through Boneta's portrayal, viewers can have an idea of what the singer emotionally went through in his career and personal life over the past 20 years. The release of shows like these on the Netflix platform highlights the importance of Latinx storytelling and representation. The Latinx community is diverse with a lot of people like Miguel that have a story to tell, and those stories must be told to all types of audiences. According to a recent study conducted by the USC Annenberg Inclusion Initiative, a mere 7% of films in 2019 featured a lead Hispanic actor, which is not significantly different from the 3.5% of leads who are Hispanic.
Mm-hmm.
In other words, there are very few Latinx actors that obtain leading roles, specifically in popular movies, and this must change. With the closure in this final season, many viewers hope Netflix will continue to spotlight more Latinx stories with shows such as this one. Okay, I binged this show last winter, and I also saw Jenny Rivera's show at the same time, and I was just like, mwah, mwah, thank you, Netflix, for keeping me just entertained during the pandemic.
That's
Gorgeous.
awesome. I agree. I think that Netflix and just like all streaming websites in general, sites in general, need more Latinx stories, 1,000%. You know, like there's a reason why, and so much research has gone behind this. Like people don't respect certain cultures as much because they don't see them represented often. And I know it sounds messed up, but it's kind of true. You know, we got to put ourselves out there that we exist and we're not just one-dimensional people. You know, we have a multifaceted culture with so much diversity. And I'm interested to learn about Luis Miguel because I don't know about you, girl, but my mom has spent years talking about Luis Miguel in a negative way because I think the press surrounding him for years is so bad. Like, you know, he's
Yeah.
got financial issues. I think baby mama drama or something like that.
For sure, for sure.
You know, there's like a lot of rumors and stuff. So I think people like my mom are just like, oh, he's a bad guy. But, you know, this story or this show might, you know, bring a new light and a new perspective. So tell us what you thought
Yeah.
about the show.
This show, it's like very dramatic. Like it feels like it could have been put on Fox, you know, as like a dramatic show. It's really awesome. It gives it gives a bunch of information about his life that I didn't know about. Like for example, he's actually like Argentinian and Spanish, but in the media they said he was Mexican, and he had like a great like mariachi voice, so nobody questioned it. And it wasn't until later that they actually caught him, and I was like, damn.
Wow.
Also, his mom disappeared on him randomly, and I don't know if like to this day if he knows where she is. So that part of the story was like super heartbreaking. The actor who plays him, literally incredible. Like he made me fall in love with Luis Miguel. Like here I am in 2021 or 2020, like just like, oh my god, Luis Miguel, love of my life.
All over again, like it was the first time.
Yeah, and honestly, I think Luis Miguel is like a genius because the fact that he like held off on his personal life being exposed, like I feel like he had more control of the narrative of his life and like how it was gonna be told. And also I bet he made like a bank.
Oh yeah.
And it's crazy. He has like millions of followers on Instagram, and it's like run by a computer, and like everybody loves it. Everyone's just like,
That's
thank you,
crazy.
King.
So he doesn't
Yeah.
run his own account. Somebody runs it for him.
Yeah, no, it looks like he doesn't run it.
Wow.
Literally like I was trying to find like more information on him, like videos or stuff, like things about him after I watched the first 2 seasons, and there was like nothing. I was like, damn.
He's an enigma.
Yeah, he's so cool.
Yeah.
Ugh, I love him. I love him. Also, Mariposa del Barrio, which is Jenny Rivera's show, that show also like really inspired me because she is actually from Long Beach. And I actually found that we have a park in Long Beach named after her. I didn't know that. But yeah, she went to LBCC. She became a real estate agent. She had like 4 kids, and she still had a career as a was it banda? Would you say her genre is like banda music?
Banda, regional Mexican music, I guess. It depends.
Yeah, she's a whole like trendsetter, like trailblazer in the genre. Like at that time, there wasn't like at all women like singing corridos.
Dude, and let me just tell you something, like being, I think, one of the first women to so like boldly speak out against like gender roles, machismo, sexism, like the inequality that women face. Like I remember specific lyrics, like as a kid, I was like 11 or 12, listening to this woman speak so strongly, and I was like, oh my lord, who is this a superhero? Like, you know what I mean? She really did inspire a whole generation of young girls, women, to stand up for themselves and like fight back. If you have not seen Mariposa del Barrio, please stream it somewhere because it's so crazy, bro.
Trigger warning
Woo.
though.
Yes.
This show is definitely very triggering. There's a
Yes.
lot of abuse
She went
and
through a
all.
lot of domestic violence, abuse. Like
Oof.
her story is one that, like, man, you know, she really was a fighter.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, like her kids and stuff, you know, live in her memory and stuff, but like, I mean, there was only one like her. Like Jenny Rivera is irreplaceable. Like I don't think
Yeah.
she'll ever be replaced.
No, she's one of a kind.
Yeah.
And she's just like Selena too. Like honestly,
Oh
you know
man.
what's so tragic?
Mm-hmm.
Like I can't think of like a Mexican American female artist who did not die. Okay, but that's also just me like thinking of Jenny Rivera and Selena. Like why
Yeah.
did they both die so young?
I don't
That's
know.
so
I don't know if it's
crazy.
the lifestyle, if it's like the people that they just surrounded themselves with. I don't
Yeah.
know. Because you know, like I'm not gonna say anything. If you don't know about Jenny Rivera, you know, she was kind of like
Right.
on territories in Mexico that she was warned to not go, but she was like, I don't care, I'm gonna do what I want to do. And that's why people
Literally.
admired her, because you know, if you don't know, in Mexico there's a lot of like cartels and stuff, obviously, but like
Mhm.
certain areas are like really, really intense. And I think they had told her, do not go to this show. And it's not confirmed that that's why she passed away. But surrounding her death, there was a lot of rumors, a lot of
Yeah.
just stuff going on it was just a very
That
tragic and unfortunate death.
it's crazy how she still did that even though like earlier. So there's another Mexican singer. His name is Chalino Sanchez.
Oh my God,
Uh
yes.
yeah, he died the same way. Like they told him like
Mhm.
don't come to this area or else, or I think it was like a mix of that or like go like they were just like saying like, oh, if you don't give us a cut of your money, like we're gonna
Mhm.
like abduct you or whatever.
Yeah. I think,
Ugh.
like, didn't his son pass away as well? Adan?
Oh really?
It was like a whole thing, man. Like, I mean,
Ooh.
it just like it playing this sort of music in like every single community is really not possible for the artist. And I think what Jenny Rivera was saying was like, I'm not gonna stop my fans from being able to hear me live. Like, I'm a play for them. They want to see me. It's just
Mm-hmm.
y'all that don't want me there. And so she went
Yeah.
anyway. And you know, there was, I don't know. I don't know if it was because of that, but you know, many, like
Yeah.
you said, many singers have unfortunately gone out.
Yeah, I haven't finished the series. I think I was like
Mhm.
3 episodes in, but it was like the point in the show where she meets like her third husband, and I was like, I hate this guy. I can't do
Yeah.
this.
Dude, like, I don't know. It's just hard out here for women. Like, and also because she
Mm,
was raised, I feel like very traditional, you know, like you have
yeah.
kids and stuff, but you're supposed to be in like a traditional household. You know, you're supposed to be a dad present, there's
Mhm.
supposed to be a mom present. I feel like maybe she was trying to provide like a dad for her kids, but like the men she was picking, man, like they were just not good guys. Like one of them got like he went to jail or something for like drug
Yeah,
charges?
in the show, like it shows her, and it's like her rise to like stardom and fame, and
Mhm.
she's like making bank, and her husband was like, I need to make more money than my wife. So he started like smuggling drugs across the border, I think, and then they caught him because
Mhm.
he had a reputation of doing like jank stuff. So
Mhm.
they finally just like caught him again, sent him to jail.
Mhm.
I think he died in jail.
God, could you
Or
imagine?
yeah, ugh,
All right,
crazy.
crazy.
All right, I have one more.
All right, what you
uh,
got? What you got?
My final piece of news comes from reporter Caitlin Rawl, in which she writes about residents exploring the unique food options at the LBX hangar. Long Beach Long Beach Exchange's The Hangar is a popular communal spot for Long Beach residents and is a home to a variety of small food vendors. If you are indecisive or looking for a place to grab a bite to eat, the LBX Hangar is the spot for you. The hangar, located at 4150 East McGowan Street in Long Beach, is a 17,000 square foot structure and home to 12 small food vendors that offer food from Turkish inspired kebabs to Korean barbecue. Opened in March 2019, the establishment is reminiscent of an old school aviation hangar, a nod to Long Beach's aviation history, and was even built on old Boeing Company land. When you walk in, you're greeted by Portola coffee roasters front and center. Then to the right, there is Blue Bowl, a customizable smoothie bowl cafe. To the left of Portola is the Croft, which specializes in comfort food and is known for its signature poutines. Poutine is a Canadian staple, which traditionally consists of French fries, cheese curds, and gravy. Inside the structure, there are a couple of design elements that help enhance that aviation theme, including a giant American flag hanging inside the building, just as one would find in an airport. They also included a clock wall with 12 clocks, each set to times of different cities across the country, such as Indiana and New Jersey. With a unique atmosphere and so much food to choose from, it's no wonder that LBX Hangar won the award for the best place to chow down during this year's Student Choice Awards. You can learn more about the LBX Hangar and the businesses inside on their official website.
All that stuff looks so good. I was just gonna comment.
Yeah, I've tried Blue Bowl.
Okay.
It's so good. It's so delicious.
It looks so good. I have not tried any of this. I didn't even know that this place was here, but let me tell you, I'm gonna put this in my saves to go places because they have like a brewery. They got this pop bar thing where these paletas. Oh my god, it looks so good. A lot of chocolatey drizzleness. Yes. Yeah, girl. Let's make a plan to go over there and check out this Jaybird's chicken, this Nashville style hot chicken.
Say less.
Yum yum yum. Yeah, I love Long Beach hangouts. I don't know Long Beach a lot, but I think that that's the fun part is like not really knowing a city and getting to know it and going to like the cool spots. And this was voted by our students, right? As the best spot to
I
eat.
believe so.
That's awesome. Yeah, so this is the inside of students just like us who like to eat yummy stuff and eat yummy snacks and drink delicious craft beer. The craft beer looks bomb too.
I haven't had it, but the smoothie bowls are 10 out of 10.
Nice. Very nice. All right, Aziza, anything else this week?
No, I think that was all for me. You?
Same. I want to shout out Brittany is free. She is finally free. Woo! Today, her conservatorship, however you pronounce that, it ended. It's over. The judge finally said she's free. You can see countless videos on Twitter of people celebrating all over the country, and I'm pretty sure all over the world, because this phenomenon has gone so far. Like, I mean, the movement Free Britney has reached so many places, and I think that's what the power of social media, the power of community, when people really get together for a cause, and they really, I think, the movement helped free her.
Yeah, we love to see it. It's been a long time coming for her.
Yeah.
Love it.
I think it was like something like 13 years, if I'm not mistaken. But I mean, that's insane. Could you imagine just being under the control of someone else, your money, your life, even your health, some of the things that they controlled? I mean, it's bogus. And congratulations to her. She now is the author of her own life. And I'm excited to see what Free Britney is gonna do. Ooh. Free Britney is no holds barred. I'm ready to see what she's gonna prepare for the public.
I hope she starts like rapping. Like,
oh
I feel
God.
like she has. I feel like she could do it now.
Dude, okay, I know her inbox is blowing up right now. Like, let's work with Britney. When can Britney start working, or what is she gonna do now? Because I'm pretty sure people want to like work with her. Like, they want to maybe put her on their projects, but I don't know. I get the feeling that she might just go off the radar. What do you think?
I think that's fine. She deserves a break.
I agree. I think if she decides to, step away completely from fame and not do anything, she left us with an amazing repertoire, and her career for the last 20 years has been still to this day, so memorable. She will live on to be, I think, at least my generation, the best pop star.
No, literally. She has a banger like every decade. I can't think of a decade in which she did not have a banger.
Man, I'm gonna go play some Britney tonight. Gimme
More.
Dude, that's a bop right there. That is such a
I love
bop.
that song.
I know. All right. Thank you so much, Aziza, for joining me this week. That's all in news for this week. Head on over to daily49er.com where you can read more campus and Long Beach related news, as well as watch more multimedia content like this podcast. You can follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Daily49er. Thank you, Aziza, for joining me. It's always awesome to talk to you and catch up and talk about news and current events. It's a good week, and it's going to be a good weekend.
Yeah, thank you, Cindy. I love doing this.
Of course.
It's so fun.
Yes, awesome. Thank you guys for listening and have a great weekend. We will talk to you soon.
Southland is bringing its credit union experience to the Long Beach State campus. As a student of Long Beach State, you are eligible to join with access to our new University Student Union branch, student loan services, free checking, and free financial educational resources. Visit Beach CU for more information.
Hello and welcome to the Beach Weekly podcast. I am your host, Aziza Gomez, and on today's episode, we are celebrating National Stress Awareness Day. National Stress Awareness Day is on the first Wednesday of November and is a sponsored event by the International Stress Management Association. Chronic stress, that is, failure to deal with it for a long time and remaining in a prolonged and constant feeling of stress, can lead to life-threatening problems, from hypertension, heart diseases, decreased immunity, loss of sociability, and decreased mental vitality. Stress is not meant to be taken lightly. Some of you might be asking, what causes stress? It is our body's automated response to pressure, commonly known as the fight or flight response. Causes, according to WebMD, are chronic illness or injury, emotional problems, taking care of an elderly or sick family member, or a traumatic event. According to WebMD, some of the psychological and emotional signs that you're stressed out include depression or anxiety, anger, irritability or restlessness, feeling overwhelmed, unmotivated or unfocused, trouble sleeping or sleeping too much, racing thoughts or constant worry, problems with your memory or concentration, and making bad decisions. That makes sense. I felt most of those things this morning, so I'm grateful to learn more about it with our guest. James Barrera has been an active performer and educator in Southern California for the past 15 years. He got his bachelor's here at the beach and got his master's degree at Indiana University. He is currently an adjunct professor of saxophone here at the Bob Cole Conservatory of Music and working on his PhD in saxophone performance at UCLA. Safe to say, he has dealt with stress. Hello, James. How are you doing today?
Good. Nice to be here with you.
I'm so excited. So, at what age did you realize that your stress was ongoing, and what was your initial response?
Yeah, probably when I was in high school, to be honest. I was in the marching band, and I was one of the drum majors. And yeah, there's a lot of responsibilities there. I was really fortunate that they sent us to a leadership camp. At leadership camp, the guy there showed us this meditation technique. And I think that really changed my life because, when you're young like that, when you're 14, you don't really realize how much stuff is going on in your head, and you have problems with your parents, and you have problems with teachers and with school and life in general. And having something to kind of work those things out, to kind of realize that they're there, because I think a lot of the stress that people have is because they're not aware, or they're in denial of the things that are causing them stress, and they think like, that's just how it is, or I should just put up with it. And so yeah, I mean, that was sort of where it started. Not that I still didn't have horrible anxiety when I would play, and have a lot of issues, and even until now. I mean, it's like a lifelong thing to try and cope with stress and anxiety, and to do it in a way that is I guess more healthy, I suppose. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that. I feel like especially within like minority groups where there's like a bunch of stress and a bunch of just like yeah, I get a bunch of stress. Like your parents moved to this country maybe to get you to study, so you just have like that whole thing over your shoulder the whole time that, oh, I have to do better for my family. Or also like I feel like if you are like a person of color, um, you kind of are taught to deal with it. Like they're just like, well, that's how it is. Like that's just what you do.
Yeah, you'll hear like my parents, yeah, they'll say like, well, I had to go pick cotton and do this, and they would, it's like if I wanted to go to the movies, this is what I had to do, and so there's kind of that you kind of think, oh well, I guess my problems aren't,
That
a real
bad.
problem,
Yeah.
so I guess I'll just leave it alone, but
Yeah.
or they're just, kind of like, that's just how it is. You have to work hard, or like I remember my dad telling me, what did he tell me? That's why they call it work. They don't call it fun. It's work. That's why you go to work. It's not supposed to be fun. And I don't know about that, but but those were things, and that's pretty much why I went into music, because when I was younger, and I would see him, and he worked in the aerospace industry, and he would leave really early, and then he would come back, and he was just really tired, and just watch TV for a couple hours, and he'd go back to sleep, and then he'd be gone. So I sort of knew like I didn't want to have a job like that. I didn't want to do something where yeah, you just sort of go, and then you're like barely like a person. You're just kind of so involved with the job that you don't really have time for anything else. And so I think that's kind of because he came from such a poor background, he sort of felt like his mission in life was to earn as much money as he possibly could, so he could send all of his kids to college. And I mean, that was great, and that ended up happening, and that was awesome. But it definitely has a cost. And so yeah, that for sure those things played a role in sort of putting like the pressure on his on like me to like you've got to do something with your life. And but overall, I don't know, maybe I'm in denial too, but it wasn't that bad, but maybe it was.
It's interesting. I was taking a health class over at LBCC, and one of the assignments was to watch this TED Talk. And I feel like that whole thing that your dad said, like, oh, that's why it's called work, not fun.
Yeah.
It's like a double-edged sword, because if you think about stress as a bad thing, it will like go into your body as a bad thing. But if you think like, oh yes, I'm stressed, but I'm gonna get through this, like I'm gonna call a friend maybe, or I'm gonna take a walk, and I can handle stress, then stress isn't as bad for you.
Right.
So I think maybe it is a double-edged sword where he's like, well, you know what, stress is normal.
Yeah.
Stress is gonna happen.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes people go too far with the idea that everything should be fun. They're like, I'm not having any fun. It's like, well, I mean, when you're going to school or you have like a career, not everything you do is going to be what you want to do. And hopefully that's why going into music for me, it's at least no matter how much I don't like what I'm doing, at least it's music. At least it's something having to do, like I chose to do it, and I have a fair amount of choice over the individual projects that I do, or students that I teach, or so it's not like I'm forced to do too many things. So that kind of went well with my personality type.
That's awesome. So you mentioned meditation.
Yeah.
And I think meditation's a very sustainable thing you can
Yeah,
do.
definitely.
What are some other things that you've incorporated into your life since like high school?
I think I mean, many things. I mean, how old am I now? I'm 46, so I've been through I feel like I've been through a few cycles of trying different things, and various times that I've been in school and graduate school, and having immense amount of pressure put on me to learn a lot of pieces or to perform or do all these things, and it's really crazy. Yeah, I mean, I would say I've done things I remember playing golf. I played golf when I was back at IU. That was pretty fun. Going to concerts, I think was really nice, just because there were so many concerts back when I was in Indiana. But yeah, I mean, just like more stressing. I mean, like right now, last year, I took a class on the Alexander technique. And the Alexander technique is a thing that actors do, dancers, And it's sort of this mind-body way of looking at things and gaining awareness of where we have tension in our bodies, and to sort of try and find neutrality in our minds. And so that's been tremendously helpful to me now, because sometimes, when things happen and you have a stressful event, sometimes people will say like, well, look on the bright side, or, this is the plot, this is like the upside. Sometimes the best you can do is just to be neutral. If you have, like, one of the things that the teacher that I had, like, you do this thing called the constructive rest, and you lay down on the ground, and one of the things that really hit me is he would say, think about, like, bring your awareness to the emotions that you have, and are these emotions serving your use? Are they serving you, or could you just let them go? And when you think about a lot of the feelings you have, they're really not helping you towards your goals. And if it's possible, if you could let them go, that would be ideal. Because sometimes that's the best you can do. Just something happened to you and it's annoying, but the feeling of the annoyance is not helping you do the task. And so if you can, sometimes you can't, but if you can, that's a great help. So that's something that's been really helping me. It's something I've been encouraging my students now to do. Because I would agree. Mental health and anxiety is such a huge issue now, and it seems, I'm not sure why. Maybe pandemic, anxiety. It seems like there's so many things causing us stress and anxiety, and I think having a tool, be it meditation or exercise. I've never been a big one for the gym. I have gone. Actually, when I was in grad school, I would go, but it's like kind of hit and miss. But I think it's important to have something that you can lean on when things aren't going your way, whatever it is. Hopefully, if it's a healthy thing and it's legal and not hurting your body, then those are the optimal things. But it could be playing video games, or hang out with your friends, or going to see a movie. Those are things that maybe could take your mind off. But there are more targeted activities that have been shown to reduce anxiety and stress, and those are definitely worth looking into.
Yeah. One thing I really admire about you is I feel like you're a very logical guy. Like, you're just like planning ahead. Do you have any tips for that? Like, I know I bring a lot of stress onto myself because I'm kind of just living day by day and hoping that I'm like getting to the end of the day, And then I say, I'm not perfect. Nobody's perfect. We forget a thing to do.
Right.
That just brings more stress because you're like, oh my gosh, it's already late. So not only are you thinking I have to do the assignment, now you're thinking, oh my gosh, how am I going to ask my professor for help or for an extension? So how do you, do you have any routines as maybe at the end of the beginning of the week, you're writing things down or something?
Yeah, well, for me, at this point, I do a lot of things in my head. So, but something we've been doing in the saxophone studio is at the beginning of the semester, I had everybody do their weekly calendar. Sitting, putting everything, when do you wake up? How long does it take you to I wake up, I take a shower, I eat, what are all the things that just trying to really map out your day, and then trying to find where all the empty spaces are. Because as a musician, we need to practice a lot. That's a huge thing. People need to practice, many hours. Could be, at a minimum 7, 1 hour a day would be pretty, not enough, or to 14 or 21 hours a week. So that's a lot of hours, and where are you going to find that time? And what the problem people have is that time they end up sacrificing when things get, they have a paper due, and they say, well, I couldn't practice today because I had this paper due. But what happens is that just creates this stress bomb later down the road when you have a concert or a jury. And so I've been trying to tell people, to really treat that time as the sacred time, because that's what will help to keep you less stressed later. And what you'll find is that if you do stick with that, when there are times when you really, really need, you absolutely have something, you're okay because you're actually ahead. So I think sitting down and mapping out your week, and maybe looking for things that maybe you don't have to do. Maybe there's some family obligations, or maybe there's some friends you hang out with, and maybe those are the things that you could move to make time for your studying. Like say you have your, whatever, a biology major. I don't know. I wasn't a biology major, but you need time to study. You need time to read. Make sure that you make that time and don't say, oh, like someone has to drive me to this, like someone needs like a ride.
Right.
And kind of say, this is my time for studying. And also recognizing what a good time of day to do that is. Some people are better in the morning. Like right now, I've set aside time between 9 and noon for me to practice and to do writing. And that's just it. So that means I'm teaching only in the, like in the late afternoons, because by the time 6 o'clock rolls around, I don't really want to write anymore.
Yeah.
So, but I'm fine with doing lessons. And then, another great thing that we did is called a mind map. So what the mind map is, a lot of people do it, and it's a great organizational strategy, is you can get like any paper, and at the center you write what your task is. Like say, or it could just be you. You could write yourself at the center. So say you put like the saxophone. So saxophone at the center, and what are all the things related to that? And you draw these other lines going out from there. Like you need to do scales or long whatever, and or say like you have a recital. So you put like, I'm doing this recital. What are all the things related to that? And then you start to see in like a graphic format all the tasks, and then that will help you to organize what you need to do, rather than doing like a list, because not everybody reacts well to lists. Some people find lists to be anxiety like producing. It's like, oh God, there's this list and I'm not doing the things on the list and I'm falling behind on the list. So really, I think, do some research into organizational strategies. There's so many. Find one that works for you. I mean, I've tried many. I took a writing class over the summer, and it was really great because they went over all of these different strategies, and some were better than others, and some I was like, wow, that's a little much for me. But it just depends how you are. Some people enjoy drawing things with colors, and they drawing like a picture, or looking out like your schedule in a super ultra detailed way. Or some people that stresses them out. So don't do it.
I'm like stressed already. Like I feel stressed just like thinking about that. Like that's so smart. My thing is I'm a big procrastinator, because like I'll like what I try to do, like maybe like on Sundays I like write out what I have on the week. Like just one important thing that I have to do throughout the day. But like I'll wake up whenever. The past 2 weeks I've been waking up at 10 when I was waking up like around 8, and I felt terrible.
Yeah.
And then when I got out of the house, it was already like 12 or 2.
Sure.
So I already felt like I wasted the day. But if I do that thing where you said like you wake up at 9, maybe like brush your teeth, 9:05, take a shower, all that, I feel like that would help me a lot.
Having a routine helps.
Yes.
So I have a son, so that forces me to wake up. So I wake up at 6:20 every day, and we get his lunch ready, get him out the door, and all that stuff. So, I'm not saying you need to wake up at that time, but definitely waking up at the same time every day really helps. Even if you don't I think it's kind of, you might think, oh, it's the weekend, I'm gonna sleep in. It can be disruptive to your schedule, like maybe plus or minus like an hour.
Okay,
but
that's good.
Yeah, if you sleep in till like 11, it really throws off your week, because now the next day you're not as tired. Now you're going to stay up really late.
Yeah.
And then it's like now you have to wake up early on Monday, and now you don't have enough rest. So in a way, even though it's kind of fun to sleep in, or it's like winter break and you sleep in all the time, you kind of have to realize that, I guess back to that like work time idea, it's like work. It's like you kind of got to wake up and because you have to take care of yourself. You have to eat. You have to have time, and you have to have time to just get your day going. And if you're waking up late, like you said, like if you're waking up at like 10, and then now, but next thing you know, it's like time for lunch, and now your eating schedule's weird, and then I think like the worst thing with that is that you feel bad. You feel like you wasted your day, and that's the worst thing.
That's the worst thing.
So it's really not worth the extra rest that you think you're getting, then if you kind of stick to that schedule and just see, I mean, not even that you're trying to get things done, but just being awake. And I mean, there's always things to do, right? There's always laundry or mundane things that you could do. Catch up on this, or like email your friend you didn't email back, or
do you schedule in that stuff too? Like if you have like the relax thing, right? Like will you like write in like take a walk 7?
During the pandemic, I did. I kind of fell out of it now, which I sort of wish that I hadn't. But yeah, I literally had a thing because I would do like a class online, and then it was like take the dog for a walk, and then so yeah, I would. I mean, I kind of take the dog for a walk at certain. Yeah, I mean, I do. Like I said, like I think if you're not that way, then writing it down is obviously a really great way to start. And then after a while, it just becomes like what you do. So I think like I don't need to write it down as much, but I did because I kind of needed that like a reminder for me. It's like, oh, like some former version of myself said, go for a walk.
Yeah.
Instead of like the person that's like, oh, I have this other thing to do, or I need.
So true.
So like not like keeping that going for a walk time as like a sacred thing. Like I'm gonna do it no matter what because it helps me to clear my mind from what I just did and help me get ready for the next thing.
Yeah.
And it's great to go outside. Obviously, when we were all indoors all the time, going outside was an important event.
I agree. I think the pandemic gave a lot of us an opportunity to kind of create like a schedule for ourselves or routines. So like now it's harder. Like if I were to like stop, like what I did for 2 weeks, if I were to stop kind of waking up, like I just felt the big difference in my life. So I think it's really true what you're saying, that you do need to make time even for like the small things.
Yeah.
Like even if you do have like a bunch of homework due, you need to remind yourself like this walk is important because it's gonna affect me the rest of the night. You need to be prepared for that. So you touched upon this earlier, but you were talking about like your dad, and remind me what he did again, like his career.
My dad was born in Texas. His dad, my grandfather, was basically a cowboy. And then sort of during that Dust Bowl era, they moved to Arizona, and he joined the Air Force, and he worked on airplanes in the air when he was in the Air Force, and that kind of rolled over into a career in the aerospace industry. And so this was at the beginning of the space race.
Wow.
So all the companies that had made airplanes, like now you're making spaceships. So he started working on the Gemini program, which was the precursor to the Apollo program. And then he worked on the space shuttle. So he worked in aerospace until 1993, I think. And then he retired. So he's in his 80s now. But yeah, I mean he never went to college.
Okay.
He went to like a trade school. He really wanted his sons to go to, in his view, going to college was like the main thing. Like that's the secret to life, And so it's been like a big, even me going back to school and getting my doctorate, that's been something you should go back to school, you should do it. And like, oh, all right, fine. So it like never ends. Like you think like that your parents would stop wanting things from you, but it never does.
That's so funny. So being in the space race, like living during the space race and literally making like spaceships.
Yeah.
Did he have like good stress management skills?
I mean, I think he's definitely like the old school, like they just, you go, you work hard, you come home, because my mom was a stay-at-home mom, and so she makes all this food and takes care of all that stuff and takes care of the kids and so I think it's just that very like old-fashioned style you might see on like Leave It to Beaver, if anyone watches it, like those old shows, like the dad comes home, kicks his shoes off, watches sports, and so yeah, I don't know if he would. I mean, he would definitely do. I know now he loves like working outside, and he works on cars. So I'm sure those are things and that he probably would have done when he was working. He liked to go skiing.
Oh, very
So
cool.
yeah, there were definitely things that he would do. Oh, love to go hiking as well. Like they hiked like a lot of mountains, Mount Whitney, and they even like when they're older, they went to Peru and hiked Machu Picchu there. So
Dang.
yeah, they've done a lot of hiking. I never caught the hiking bug, but definitely have the more like engineer brain.
So, I've been your student for about 5 years, and I've noticed a change in your approach to teaching. I'm sure your students can agree that over the years, your demeanor with your students has become one of compassion and encouragement. What brought on this change? Have you noticed a change in your students since teaching about emotional and physical wellness?
When I was a student, because when you teach, you tend to teach how you were taught. I was going to college in the 1990s, and I feel like that was sort of like the end of like the old days, I suppose. Like there were a lot of teachers when I was in college that had been teaching since like the 1960s. And so, that was honestly like when colleges, like a lot of colleges started. It was a very hard-nosed style. It was kind of like a survival of the fittest. And I think like the style was to stress you out. And if you failed, then I guess you weren't meant for this. And if you could live through that, then, you were good to go. So, you kind of bring that with you, that like idea of when someone's having a hard time, you just kind of like, well, you need to just work harder. And, just through so many things of being a parent, I have a son that has special needs and doing a lot of therapy and therapy with him and therapy with myself and having some other teachers that I've worked that I've worked with and seeing how they do things and just as you live life and sort of seeing like, well, maybe this is like a better way to do things or you get better results. I think that I've always tried to get the same result out of people. Like I want the best for them. I want them to succeed. Um, and just trying to find a way to do things to get people to the level that they need to be at without ruining them. I think is sort of
Much
the
appreciated.
goal. It's like trying not to do like I think because some people will try and do like nothing.
Right.
They'll like, well, just play a piece that's much easier. Do something that's like easier. If you're stressed out, then just don't like do those. So I try not to do that because I know people need to get to a certain level, but what I've been trying to do lately is to try and teach them these organizational strategies so that they can understand that they can accomplish more if they do a little bit more planning and they kind of look to the future and kind of understand where the sources of their stress and anxiety are. But but also with the understanding that people have a hard time. Things happen in life, and kind of giving them space if something bad happens, and just kind of knowing that that they're not. Because I think like I know like I've heard from a lot of students that they talk to a professor that and they tell them, well, you need to bring a note from your doctor, or you need to show me evidence that you went to this funeral, and that's just kind of I don't know about that. That's just
That's horrible.
I mean, if a student is going to lie about something, I mean, either they have a big problem or they have a problem with you as a teacher. Like they don't want to tell you because they don't trust you. So either way, there's nothing you can really do about it. I mean, we're not like the police. If someone's gonna and I always tell my students, like usually I will allow them to have one free lesson that they can miss because for the non-music majors, missing we only get like 11 lessons. So if you miss one, it's kind of a big thing. It's like 10% of the whole thing. So, but I always give them at least one. I always tell them, like, look, you get one, no questions asked. Don't even tell, like, if you don't want to say what it was, just don't say. Just,
Period.
Freebie. You missed, and whatever it was, you slept in, something happened, just go ahead and do it. And that way, they don't have to feel like they make up an excuse or do anything. But yeah, just trying to find a way for people to enjoy what they're doing, but still achieve the highest level that they can. I think that's what my goal is. So I'm still still a work in progress. I don't know. I don't think you'll ever really figure it out because people are always changing. They're always changing. So that's been hard for me because you kind of think, like you have it kind of figured out, and then sort of a new crop of kids come and their attitude is not the same because
Right.
things change, and you're like, oh boy, well, what I was doing before, now they don't like it. So, well, now what's happening? So,
Right.
I feel like I've gone through at least 3 or 4 cycles of that now. So sometimes, like, if I rub people the wrong way, it's because people didn't used to be bothered by it, but now they are, and I'm like, okay, well, I guess we'll figure out something else.
Yeah. Well, it's good that you're very like with the times. I feel like you make an effort to understand why something offended someone,
Yeah.
or what maybe you might have done wrong or what someone else did wrong. So I appreciate that. And it's honestly very inspiring for me and many other people in the conservatory.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I'm always depending. Sometimes I'll have a student or two, and I'll say like, hey, let me run this by you. So what do you think about this idea? And they'll be like, yeah, I don't think so. I'm like, really? Like, yeah. I'm like, all right. I don't know. Like, so, I think just asking students, like, where are you guys at? Like, is this a thing? Because when I was your age, this is how it was. And they're like, no, it's not that way. I'm like, all right, well, what are you going to do? So, I mean, you just have to kind of roll with the times. Because, yeah, I definitely don't want to be some of the professors you kind of see someone sort of at like the end of their career and they're like, oh, kids now, this is like, they don't want anything. I'm glad I'm getting out of here. And so hopefully I'll sidestep that.
Yeah, hopefully. Okay, so other than music, what are some hobbies or activities that help you de-stress?
Yeah, well, I'm definitely a big hobby person. I do so many things. One thing I really think I'm going to try and do over the Thanksgiving break. So I actually brew my own beer, and so I definitely want to brew up a batch. And it's kind of like a whole day like event. So I just haven't had time to
Okay.
do it. But that's it. Like I love anything that's really like detail or oriented. There's like a lot of little tiny steps. I love to cook. Cooking
Okay.
like a really great meal is awesome. Um, what else have I been doing?
You've been 3D
3D
printing.
printing. Yeah, I was gonna say 3D printing. I don't know. Is that like a hobby? Yeah, I guess it's a hobby. It's kind of. I don't know. Is it like
Well,
turning
you
into?
should tell us
Is
that
it like
wholesome
turning into
story.
a job?
I mean, it's like I remember you like posted about it. It was like so wholesome. You made like a bird.
Oh yeah.
Can you tell us the story? It's really
I
awesome.
mean, it was my wife got this hummingbird feeder. It's hard to describe. It's just like this tube. Just imagine a clear tube and it has holes in it, and you hang it up, and it's like sideways, and the birds come and like drink out of it. And then a friend of mine has a hummingbird feeder, and it has a space for the birds to actually land on it. And I thought, well, that would be cool. Like, how could you do that? So I actually looked into it, and there was a way to do it. So I figured it out. Yeah, like 3D printed these little perches for the birds to like. They're on. I saw them today. So now they have because like hummingbirds, they don't just like to hover. Like they actually like to land and then like drink. So yeah, in case you didn't know.
That's
Fun
really cool.
hummingbird fact. They
Fun
love
fact.
to land on things. They actually don't like hovering and drinking out of the flowers.
Huh. Never would have thought of that.
But yeah, I've been 3D printing. I've 3D printed models for my son. He's really big into video games. We printed a Sonic the Hedgehog, and we painted that.
That's so
And
cool.
I 3D print saxophone stuff. The 3D printing is for my UCLA research, but I do other nonsense with it too. So.
All right. Well, thank you so much, James. This was very informative. Is there any last words that you want to say to
I guess I feel like I have to throw out there, if there's any students that find themselves in a bad place, definitely seek out CAPS and other resources through the school. I think everyone gets, is it 5 therapy sessions?
I think it is 5,
I think it's 5. So, don't hesitate to do that. Don't feel bad or like you're weak or you should just get over it. That's definitely not the way to go. And I think I think it's the STARS team. Is that what it's called? I could be totally wrong. There is another level if people are in really bad crisis. These are people that will help you get like food, or shelter or something really bad happens. So definitely check into the mental health resources that the school has.
Yeah, I really appreciate that about our school, that they offer that. But yeah, that was this podcast on stress management. Everybody try to take it easy. If you don't think stress will kill you, then it won't kill you. And also, I think, what was it? It was like a story that like someone thought they were gonna die of stress, and then like they literally did die of stress. But don't think about that. You're not gonna die. You're gonna do great. I wish you luck on finals week. And this was this episode of Beach Weekly. Have a great day.